Hello, this is Addis News. I'm Solomon Danye. Thanks for joining me. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed held discussion with leaders of the Tigray interim administration. The meeting evaluated humanitarian security, infrastructure and public service provision, milestones and challenges in the region. The Prime Minister tweeted that critical areas of intervention were identified and directions set for requisite actions. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister and presidents of regional states and city administrators yesterday launched a solidarity initiative for the Tigray Regional State Interim Administration and the people of the region. The solidarity initiative aims at mobilizing the contribution of regions and federal institutions as well as other stakeholders in supporting humanitarian efforts underway in the region. The regional states pledged to provide food and non-food items that are critically important for the people and administration of Tigray. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed further called upon all sections of society to make whatever contributions they can to help support the effort. The Premier donated his 1-month salary and 200,000 birr from the sale of the Madamar book and 3 water tanker trucks through the office of the Prime Minister. The Ethiopian Minister of Foreign Affairs has sent us a statement regarding the situation in the border dispute between Ethiopia and Sudan. The statement reads as follows. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia condemns in the strongest possible terms the escalation and provocative behavior of the government of the Sudan regarding the boundary issues between the two nations. Ethiopia believes that any conflict between our two countries would only result in a colossal collateral damage and jeopardizes the well-being of the two nations. Therefore, the Ethiopian government strongly believes that the conflict being trumpeted by the Sudanese government's military wing could only serve the interests of a third party at the expense of the Sudanese people. It is to be noted that the two governments have sufficient mechanisms to deal with any claims and counterclaims of the border or any territorial claims. However, the Sudanese National Army violated the basic principles of international law and peaceful settlements of disputes by unceremoniously invading Ethiopia in early November 2020. In doing so, Sudan has violated the bilateral boundary agreements which stipulate non-displacement of nationals of either nation from their farms jointly registered by the two governments, the status quo of which shall be maintained until the disposition of the case by an agreement. The Sudanese side has also overturned and undermined the efforts of the joint boundary committees that have been making tireless efforts to finalize the redemarcation process of the common boundary. Contrary to the spirit of friendship and cooperation existing between our two brotherly countries, the Sudanese army looted properties, burned camps, attacked and displaced thousands of Ethiopians, and controlled vacated Ethiopian military camps. What is more deplorable is in an apparent misrepresentation of the facts on the ground, Sudan is deliberately engaged in misinformation campaigns against Ethiopia by accusing the victim as an aggressor, evading accountability by shifting blame and camouflaging its belligerence and continue its provocation in an attempt to control more lands. Amidst of all this escalatory and provocative behavior of the Sudan, Ethiopia has shown a great deal of patience, remained restrained from exercising its legitimate right of self-defense, and time and again expressed its commitment to a peaceful settlement of differences regarding the boundary through existing bilateral agreements and joint border mechanisms. What is needed is a political will of the two governments which would enable them reach at an amicable solution. Ethiopia firmly believes in the long-standing fraternal relations between the people of Ethiopia and Sudan, regardless of the nature of their respective governments. The attempt being made by the Sudanese army to push the friendly peoples of Ethiopia and Sudan to unwarranted war is a serious blunder that will undermine the peace, stability, and development of the two nations in particular and the region in general. Ethiopia, while reiterating its commitment for a peaceful settlement of the boundary issue, once again calls upon the government of the Sudan to reverse the aggression, desist from provocation and resort to a peaceful settlement of the boundary issue. Therefore, the Ethiopian government would like to call upon the people of the Sudan to check on its government from serving a third-party interest, which only would result in the deterrent of the two nations further. Furthermore, Ethiopia calls upon brotherly African countries to advise the Sudanese government to finalize the border issues through available mechanisms in peaceful manner. The government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia also thanks the people of Ethiopia for showing maximum patience and profound understanding. Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki lashed out at TPLF for its foolishness to pull the trigger against the Ethiopian Defense Force. Talking to Eritrean national TV station, the president said the political conspiracy the group implemented to torment the Ethiopian people finally dragged them to their demise. He also pointed out that the group even had the intention to destroy Asmara before they conceded a deserved retribution. We have more on this story. The peace accord that Ethiopia and Eritrea signed following the advent of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed ended the 20-year stalemate between the two sisterly nations. Many hoped that the move would be a tectonic shift in the much-troubled Horn of Africa. Though the end result does not seem as quenching as it was supposed to be, the two countries still enjoy a cordial relationship. In his recent interview with the Eritrean national TV station, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki put the blame on TPLF for disruptions in border areas. The president also rebukes TPLF's heinous attack against the Ethiopian National Defense Force, which he said was a result of its 30-year-long political conspiracy.
In my personal understanding, what we just saw is a result of explosives carefully planted by TPLF. They have been using explosive politics to stay in power as long as they want. In 1994, Meles Zenawi came to me and asked for help. He gave me a draft constitution of his government to comment on. I took my time to carefully examine what was in it, and I realized that it was a dangerous weapon. I was frank with him by the time. I told him that the Ethiopian people did not deserve such kind of constitution. He said he expected that type of reaction from me, adding that it was the most suitable way to stay in power. To your surprise, he went on to say that they would plant explosives in each regional state in Ethiopia. If things well, that would be okay. But if they went astray, then they would let them explode one by one. How could you plan to reign your own country that way? That is insane.
Commenting on the recent TPLF attack on the northern command of the Ethiopian Defense Force, Isaias said TPLF planned to impound its former role as government by attacking the Ethiopian army and destroy Asmara even further. But the plan, he said, was a fatal mistake which dragged them to their demise.
Their plan was miscalculated from the outset. How on earth do you intend to destroy the national army which is protecting your borders? They even plan to take over Addis Ababa and try to bring a regime change in Asmara afterwards. That was their historical mistake. Of course, it would not come surprising if you are aware of the nature of their politics. What they were doing while they led the country in the past couple of decades was to divide the people among ethnic lines. They tirelessly work in instigating conflict between ethnicities to remain in power. But everybody should take note of their downfall. The end result of such political philosophy is humiliation.
The president also underscores that the purging of TPLF will open up a new political horizon in the East African region. A delegation led by Army Chief of Staff of South Sudan, General Johnson Juma, arrived in Addis Ababa yesterday. Upon arrival at Bola International Airport, the military delegation of South Sudan has been accorded a warm welcome from Chief of Staff of Army of the Ethiopian National Defense Force, General Birhanu Jula, and other top military officers. The top army leaders of Ethiopia and the South Sudan are expected to discuss military issues during the delegation's stay here in Addis Ababa. The Ethiopian Diaspora Agency says it has collected over 27 million birr from Ethiopians living abroad for the Dine for Ethiopia program. This is in addition to the previously raised 400 million birr by the Ethiopian diaspora to lend a hand to the internally displaced people of the past 2 years. Director of the Ethiopian Diaspora Agency told the TV that the diaspora community is in a suitable position to back the ongoing reform in Ethiopia. Alola Teklemaram reports.
May 2019 saw the launch of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's highly successful Dine for Shagir initiative that mobilized funds for city projects to improve Addis Ababa's tourism potential. Within a year, refurbishment of both Shagir and Intoto parks was complete. The Ethiopian diaspora is regarded as a dependable force to back the country's reform, given its immense potential and exposure. Established to help this grand aim succeed, the Ethiopian Diaspora Agency is organizing a host of events and generally urging the diaspora to pitch in for ongoing initiatives by the government. The agency said it has collected over 27 million birr from Ethiopians living abroad for the Dine for Ethiopia program.
Dining for Nation or Gabata Lahagar projects were, very interesting projects for diaspora. They loved it very much. They try to contribute what they can do for it in idea and in cash. The contribution, the amount of contribution is until now. We started the mobilization for the project within this last 3 months. So within this last 3 months, their contribution been like 27 million Ethiopian birr. So we're also, try to give them opportunity to participate in the dinner program. 10 of them will be participating. 8 up to 10. Yes. We give them this opportunity to participate here. So the Prime Minister Office give a ticket and accommodations opportunity for them so that they can come here and witness what's going on.
On 16 August 2020, the Dine for Ethiopia program was launched. It hopes to mobilize funds for 3 projects in Gorgora, Wenchi and Koisha. The new initiative aims to raise 3 billion birr within 2 months. Salamawit underscored that over 400 million birr was collected from the diaspora for the rehabilitation of people who have been internally displaced over the past 2 years.
Including this national projects, they also contributed for the people who have been disrupted because of the rural enforcement in our northern part of Ethiopia. They've been contributed for about 400 million birr. Yeah, that was the reason, the Gabatala Hargar get only 27 million, because this happens in the middle of this mobilization. Yes.
The agency further called upon the diaspora to maintain their support and leave their legacy in Ethiopia's multifaceted progress.
Ethiopian Human Rights Commission urged political parties to make human rights issues their core agenda during the upcoming elections. The Commission is consulting with various stakeholders under the theme Human Rights During Elections. Daniel Bekele, Commissioner of Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, recommended political parties to place human rights at the heart of their agenda during the upcoming national elections. The Commission has raised three major concerns in the upcoming elections, namely full rights of citizens to participate in election, issues of people with special needs during the election process, and participation of the displaced people in the elections.